So in this video we're going to start Unit 5, which is about writing classes. Classes allow us to store information all in one place about objects. An object can be anything. It can be an animal, a person, a test, a snack, a mode of transport. Anything can be a class, but classes all have lots of attributes and they have methods associated with them. The purpose of object-oriented programming is to store everything we know about the world inside a program, and that's what we're going to look at. The purpose of a class is to keep all the information about one thing together. So classes are blueprints or plans of an object where the attributes the object have become the instance variables and the behaviors of the objects become the methods. Our class tells us what an object can and cannot do. An example we're going to look at is an animal in a pet shop represented in an animal class. The attributes that animals have is they have a type, a cost, whether they're being sold or not, and whether they need special equipment. The behaviours that animals have is they can be sold, so someone could come in and buy them, or their cost could be changed. If they're not getting rid of them, we make them cheaper. So let's have a look at this in Java. I create a new project. I'm going to call it the pet shop. Then I'm going to create a class, but I do not create a main method. Okay, so I right click and got a new Java class and I'm going to call it animal. Classes should have capital letters. That is the rule of Java. And we're going to create the instance variables private. This means they cannot be seen outside of the class. Okay, they are encapsulated inside of the class. So if something is set as private, it can only be seen within the class it has been created. So what you need to know for computer science is that when you create an instance variable, you should be making it private. So I set my type as a string, my cost is a double, my boolean is, my animal sold is boolean because it can either be true or it can be false. And then I'm going to say private string special equipment because you want the people to be able to type in the special equipment. I'm now going to create a default constructor method. When I want to create an animal, I have to call a constructor method. And the default one is the programmer provides the values. So I'm going to say the animal type is just an empty string. The animal cost is 0. The animal sold will originally be set to false because it can't be sold. It's still in my pet shop. And the special equipment will just be an empty string. The default constructor method, if the person does not provide any information, this is a constructor method that would be called. This is called polymorphism and method overriding, but this we will have a look at in a later unit. I'm then going to create an overridden constructor method where the user sends in the values that they want the animal to have. So inside the brackets, I add something called parameters. And the parameter is a string, animal type, double, animal cost, animal sold, and special equipment. Then I assign the values that have come in from the parameters to the instance variables. So whatever the user sends in from the main method becomes the value of the instance variable. Now, because my instance variables are private, I have to have special methods called accessor methods, which are public. I can call upon these methods and find out the value within an instance variable. So in public string animal type, I'm saying that this will return a string and this string will be what type of animal it is. I'm saying in public double, get animal cost, a double will be returned from this and this will be the cost of the animal. In public boolean, get animal sold, I'm saying this is going to be true or false and I return animal sold. And in public string, get special equipment, I'm going to return the special equipment. Now, the sold status and the cost of the animal will change. So I'm going to say public void set animal type. These are known as mutator methods, and they allow me to change the value of a variable. Now, it's a void because nothing comes back from this method. I send in as a parameter what I want the new animal cost to be, and I set the instance variable to that value. My final thing that I'm going to create is a toString method. A toString method allows me to return a nice string that contains all of the information from the class in a beautiful sentence that will be printed out when I call upon it. These are really useful if you have information stored in a class because it allows you to see all of the information stored in the class in a sentence. So just a reminder, private instance variables cannot be seen outside the class, private methods cannot be seen outside of the class, but public methods can be viewed and used by other classes. And this is what we're going to have a look at a moment when we create a main class. So now I'm going to create a main class. And this is going to have my main method. Public static void main means it's a driver. It's like turning the ignition in your car. When you start Java, it looks for this main method, and this is where everything's run from. So I'm going to create cat1. And cat1 uses the default constructor. That means I don't pass in any values. It takes on what I put in the program. Cat2 is going to use the overridden constructor. So it's going to expect values. When I pass in the values, I'm saying don't use the default, use the overridden constructor. And I'm going to tell it what it is. So it's a cat. It's going to cost 150 francs, which I don't know how much cats cost in Switzerland, so I made it up. It's not sold, so I set sold to false immediately, and it doesn't need any special equipment. It's a cat. Then I'm going to print them out so you can see that cat1, when I say cat1.toString, it takes on the animal, and when I say cat2, it will take on the values that I've passed in. Cat1, I'm going to use the public mutator method to set the cost of cat1. So I'm going to change it to 75. And then I'm going to print it out again so you can see that the instance variable has been updated. So if I print it, run it, and you can see the toString method's been called, so everything's in a nice variable.